UFC Fight Night 174, Whittaker versus Till on Fight Island 3 takes place this weekend, and there are a ton of huge names on that card. However, there are some names on that card that are flying underneath the radar that could be potential superstars, and I'm going to tell you in this video exactly who those people are. Starting with the one that everyone's here to see first, Khamzat Chimaev makes a 10-day turnaround on Fight Island. We're doing a double dip on Fight Island with Khamzat Chimaev. He never left Fight Island. He's been here this whole time. Starting on the Qatar versus Ige card with a very dominant, short notice, by the way, as well. Performance against John Phillips completely dismantled him. John Phillips didn't have a single second of success in that bout. Chimaev was all over him, start to finish, destroyed him in the second round by Darce choke. Now he's moving on because he said, no. Fight Island was just too easy for me. I'm going to need to do this twice to give myself a real challenge. So, not only is he doing it twice, but he's also given himself the task of cutting down to welterweight. So now we're going to see where Khamzat Chimaev really thrives in that welterweight division, because he was a welterweight before joining the UFC. I feel like he might be a little bit too big for welterweight, but if he knows he can do it, I'm not going to be the one to stand in his way. He's cutting down to welterweight to face a lightweight in Rhys McKee. I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's a little bit of a layup for Khamzat Chimaev, but if he makes it look easy again, here's the thing, and a lot of people talk shit about guys getting cans fed to them and guys getting good matchups fed to them to make themselves look really good. You then have to go out there and look really good. It's not just enough to win against these guys. So I'm assuming Khamzat Chimaev knows this and is looking to go out there and dominate Rhys McKee in that first round. Now, Rhys McKee is a bit of a dangerous opponent. 10-2, great fighter. Beat Herbert, who's another person on this card as well. Rhys McKee is a very good fighter. 24 years of age. Long, lanky, kind of could fit in at welterweight anyway, but he's naturally a lightweight. He's a bit of danger. He's not going to be danger to Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion. Now, the odds are so ridiculous. Have I put a little bit of money on Rhys McKee to win by first round TKO? Maybe I have. But that's regardless of the point. Khamzat Chimaev should go out there and completely dismantle him. That's what I expect to see, and we'll see if that actually happens. Because if Khamzat Chimaev can pull this off and double dip on Fight Island, 10 days turned around, back from the Qatar Ige card to this one, he's going to steal the show, because there are a lot of huge names on these cards. However, there isn't that one superstar name. Maybe there is on this card with Whittaker versus Till. But there isn't that one big superstar like a McGregor, like a Masvidal on these cards on Fight Island. And you've got all of the attention of the people, the fans out there that know of Fight Island and are tuning in for Fight Island bouts. And you're not getting all of the air sucked out of the room by this huge superstar. So a lot of these guys lower down the prelims are building their own storylines. And people are paying attention to the prelims, I believe, now more than ever on these Fight Island cards. I feel like Khamzat Chimaev's going to go out there and get a dominant finish in the second round, possibly by submission. I don't see him TKOing Rhys McKee. I see him just battering him up for a little bit and then eventually going for the submission. Khamzat Chimaev gets it done. Watch out for him. He's a dangerous guy. Beat great guys over at Brave CF, championship fighting. Beat a bunch of undefeated guys, 8-0, 4-0, then joins the UFC. Young guy as well, he's still got his career ahead of him at 26 years of age. Finally some excitement in that higher weight class, but now he's moving down to welterweight, so maybe he'll take away from that excitement, who knows, but I'd possibly like to see him bounce between a pair of them. Listen, if Khamzat Chimaev's going to fight every 10 days, go ahead and fight every 10 days. I'd love to fucking see it. That would be amazing. You can fight 36 times a year. That would be amazing. That really would be. Go ahead, Khamzat Chimaev. I urge you to do it. Khamzat Chimaev, pay attention to him. Moving on the card. Not Rhys McKee. He's going to lose to Khamzat Chimaev, but another person from the UK and / Ireland, Tom Aspinall. Dangerous heavyweight. I need to get this out the way, though, because there's not really much to say about him. However, he was at Tyson Fury's training camp. He was a great boxer before this as well. Now he's moving over to the MMA world. He has a huge amateur career for a heavyweight, which we never normally see in a heavyweight division, showing how seriously he's taken this. I like the look of an amateur record. He went 5-0 as an amateur, finishing all but one of his opponents as well. Looked good in his pro debut against multiple decent competition. Then he fought Stuart Austin, who was an 8-2 guy. Tom Aspinall was a young guy, didn't really know the submission world too much, and he got submitted. Then he beats his next opponent, who's a debutant. He takes a step back. Then he moves on. Loses again, but loses via an illegal elbow, 12-6, which is an unfortunate thing, especially when you're beating the shit out of the guy like Tom Aspinall was. Throws a 12-6 elbow. It's unfortunate. Those kind of mistakes happen when you've got newcomers to the game, but since then he's been on a 3-fight win streak against somewhat okay competition. I would not pick Tom Aspinall to go out there and beat a guy like Arlovski or Tanner Boser or someone around that level, or Ben Rothwell or something like that. I would never pick him to beat one of those guys. But I do think that Jake Collier, a light heavyweight who hasn't fought in what feels like 2 years right now, is a great little, you know, a jobber. He is a jobber. Jake the Jobber Collier is going to go out there and hopefully make Tom Aspinall really look really good. Because he's got great hands. He trains at Team Calbon, which means he's going to get a bit of trickle-down fame, much like the members at CKB. If you notice, as soon as Israel Adesanya got a little bit of notoriety, so did Dan Hooker, so did Kai Kara France, so did Alexander Volkanovski. Obviously, they've had successes as well, but being part of the same gym as a superstar can really help out your brand. Look at Gunnar Nelson. A lot of people knew who Gunnar Nelson was before McGregor broke onto the scene, but just seeing Gunnar Nelson in the background of a couple McGregor training videos, all of a sudden the whole crowd's cheering for him. These things happen. I feel like Tom Aspinall could have similar success. A young guy at 27 years of age, which is basically like the Chase Hooper of the heavyweight division right now. He's so young for it. Normally we get to see guys when they're about 30 making their debut. 27 years of age, the Chase Hooper of the heavyweight division. Hopefully Jake Collier is not the Alex Caceres of the heavyweight division. Otherwise, there's going to be some real big problems. So, I think Tom Aspinall is going to go out there and get a first-round TKO. In fact, I'm going to include that on one of my parlays. Tom Aspinall gets it done. Moving on, Jai Herbert, another guy from the UK. From Birmingham. Team Renegade BJJ. He's done some work with Leon Edwards, Fabian Edwards, those kind of guys. Not the same gym, but trains around the area. So, I'm sure they're getting a lot of shared training time. He's a very good fighter. Very, very good fighter. Actually lost to Rhys McKee, who's taken on Khamzat Chimaev. However, you know, it was early in his career. Since then, he's been on a massive streak of great performances. Recently coming off a 4-fight finishing streak at lightweight, which is very impressive in my opinion. He was supposed to be fighting Mark Jacasey in March at UFC London. That fight didn't end up happening, so now he's gotten a massive jump up the rankings with a guy like Francisco Trinaldo, who's an older guy, and also, very important to note, hasn't had a full camp. Now, Francisco Trinaldo did fight in March, so it could be possible. It could be a possibility that he stayed in shape this entire time. However, I know that Jai Herbert has known that he's been fighting on one of these cards for a very long time, because all of the fights that have been cancelled on UFC London have recently been rebooked against some other people, unless their names are Leon Edwards. You know, all of them from that card. You've got Mark Jacasey, Paul Craig just got a fight signed as well. Now we've got Jai Herbert getting a big moment. Nathaniel Wood was probably going to be on that. Well, he probably wasn't because he got KO'd by John Dodson. But still, Jack Shaw was supposed to be on that UFC London card. He got a fight on Fight Island. All of these guys have known that they're going to be fighting on Fight Island since that UFC London card was finished and over and cancelled. I feel like he's going to take that momentum into this short notice Francisco Trinaldo fight and win on short notice against a dangerous guy in the division. I don't think he's going to get a TKO win. However, he's shown the ability to finish guys in the third round, showing a great gas tank. That's the first clear sign of a good gas tank. If you can finish someone in the third round after 10 minutes of a fight, you can still find the energy to finish someone with ground and pound punches and accumulation shots as well, which he did to not Steve O'Keefe, which he did to Jack Grant. I feel like he's gonna be able to last a distance with a guy like Trinaldo. Don't get me wrong, I like Trinaldo, but it feels like a lot of his wins are kind of nothingness between other people and him. I know he had a fight with John McDessie. John McDessie outlanded him every round, but John McDessie wasn't landing clean enough shots, apparently, so they gave it to Francisco Trinaldo. Also had a close fight with Alexander Hernandez, but Alexander Hernandez had one arm in that fight as well. I just feel as though Jai Herbert's got a really good debut for himself here, and it might be time for Francisco Trinaldo, Mr. 41 years of age Francisco Trinaldo. Francisco 41 Trinaldo is going to get I don't think he's going to get finished, but I think he's going to get hurt badly over 3 rounds. Jai Herbert's going to get the job done. I somewhat root for Francisco Trinaldo because he's such a legend of the game. I just feel like Jai Herbert is of that level to get him out of there. Jai Herbert's beaten some good guys back home in the UK. I think he's going to move on and take out Francisco Trinaldo. What a great debut chance for him to move jumping himself right up those rankings. 32 years of age also is Jai Herbert, so he's in a rush right now. I like the hastiness. I like the rush of his career right now because he knows that he hasn't got much time left and he's going to have to go for broke or go home. Go broke or go home. I feel like he's going to get the job done over Francisco Trinaldo. It might be time for Trinaldo to maybe hang up the gloves. I'd pick Jai Herbert to beat John McDessie and Bobby Green. And Trinaldo made both of those fights look really close. I think Jai Herbert gets it done. Moving on to my last fighter to watch out for at UFC Fight Night 174, Whittaker versus Till on Fight Island 3. It's Movsar Evloev. Great fighter coming off a big win against Enrique Barzola. Was supposed to be fighting Douglas Andrade in March. That got changed to Jamal Emmers in March. Now he's turning around to fight Mike Grundy on Fight Island. Mike Grundy was also supposed to fight in March. Not to mention, Mike Grundy and Movsar Evloev is a fight that was supposed to be booked all the way back in 2019 in August. This fight has been made to happen, so I'm sure they're still clinging on to a little bit of a game plan that they had for each other not too long ago. I feel as though Movsar Evloev's going to get the job done. I picked a lot of UK fighters this card, but the one I do not trust to win this one. This is a little bit of a UK showcase card. You've got Nathaniel Wood, who's got a favourable opponent. Tom Aspinall's got a favourable opponent. Then you've got up the card, Jai Herbert's got a chance to get a massive upset and break through into the rankings. He's got a big showcase in the headliner of the prelims. Then you've got Darren Till looking to make a show in the main event. We'll see if he wins that one, because that's a real close fight, even though I think he barely gets it done over Robert Whittaker. That's a real close one to predict. But Mike Grundy, on the other hand, I feel like is going to be the only one to come up short here on the card. I just don't see him beating a guy like Movsar Evloev. Movsar Evloev is the man to look out for in that division right now. He's beaten everyone, including Enrique Barzola, who had a real close fight, and in fact beat Bobby Moffett, who had a real close fight with Bryce Mitchell. I know MMA math doesn't always work, but it can give you a somewhat of an idea of where people are in the divisional rankings based on how close their fights are with people. You know, we moved Dominic Reyes up the rankings for beating John Jones, but having a close fight anyway because they gave the decision to John Jones. I feel like you can give guys credit for having close fights with guys. I give people credit for going the distance with Enrique Barzola. I mean, I know he just had a bit of a... I mean, Enrique Barzola's a savage. He just is, period. He went to a draw with Rani Yahya, but he was doing good at the end of that fight. He's a great opponent. I just feel like Movsar Evloev's gonna... He's beaten good guys, including Enrique Barzola, including Soo Woo Choi, who was 7-1 at the time. Not to mention he's come up through M1, which is a great promotion. Nate Landwehr came from a place like that. There's a ton of guys from M1, and anytime you see someone from M1, they always have great opponents on their resume pre-UFC. Which is what Movsar Evloev has right now. Look at his M1 challenge opponents that he's taken on. He goes into the M1 challenge. He faces a guy 1-2 when he's 4-0. Fair enough. The next step up from 1-2 is probably what? 3-2? That's the next most likely step up from a 1-2 opponent. Maybe someone who's 3-2. No. He takes on a guy 14-7. Okay. Bit of a jump up, but you win that one. Now you're 6-0. You take on a guy 12-2. Back to back, great recorded fighter. Next opponent, 11-2. Next opponent, 11-2 again. Next opponent, 15-5. Makes them all look easy, getting finishes in the 5th round, which again is always a good sign of great cardio, which I really feel like is a staple needed for me to trust a fighter to predict them, for them to have great cardio. I need to know that you can push the pace, the distance of the fight, because... You know, if you get tired, my prediction means fucking nothing. You're not even the same person anymore. I feel like he gets the job done against Mike Grundy, and will probably jump him up the rankings against a guy like... I don't even know. But I'm assuming that if Movsar Evloev wins this one, he's undefeated. He'll be 13-0. You know, on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC. I mean, that's going to be a real good position for him. I reckon he could maybe secure a fight with a Zubaira Tukhugov, Hakeem Dawodu winner. Maybe a Grant Dawson if Dawson's looking to come back down. There's good opponents for Movsar Evloev in the featherweight division if he gets the job done this weekend. Thank you for watching this video. Click that button there. Like and subscribe. I hope I've told you guys the people to watch out for at UFC Fight Island 3, Whittaker versus Till. Because although there's some huge names, everyone's talking about Gus versus Verdum and Whittaker versus Till, these cards, we get the storylines that we wouldn't normally get otherwise, I feel like. Because even in the cards before Fight Island as well, just during this whole situation, I feel like people are paying attention to any entertainment they can get in life right now a bit more. I don't feel like the Cody Stamann storyline would have been as huge if it wasn't for the situation that we're in right now, where these other guys that are lower down the card are getting their stories told a little bit more. I like it, and I feel like there's a chance for a lot of these people to shine. Khamzat Chimaev being the main one. If he pulls this off, he's going to be a huge name. He is going to be a huge name, and he's going to be the next guy to look out for. I'm looking forward to it. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there again, just in case you didn't the first time I told you to, like an idiot. Goodbye.